if you were hoping that the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro were going to have a either similar design to what they've had in the past or different, and what I mean by different is different than anybody else on the market, you might be let down. But I think this is going to be a good thing in general, because the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro look exactly like AirPods Pro. I'm not going to show the exact image that's been leaked out on the internet due to copyright restrictions, but they're basically going to look something like this. Maybe not the color, but definitely the design. They will have a stem now, and they will have a rubber tip on the end of the earbud still. And also, with that stem, you've got to imagine that it's going to do a couple of things. Since it's sticking out a little bit from your ear, it's probably going to be more comfortable. These buds that have stems, I feel like they are a little bit more comfortable than ones that just get shoved right in your ear. The other part of it is that it'll probably have, not that it had a bad connection, but it's probably gonna have a stronger connection to your phone because it's not directly in your ear, it's hanging down a little bit. So being able to be a little bit further away from your phone, or having your phone not, even if it's blocked, the radios, the Bluetooth radios are blocked by something in your pocket or somewhere else, it still should have a stronger signal. And it's also gonna be better with controls. You're probably gonna have to squeeze it, tap it, slide on that stem rather than having to tap the actual earbud, since it's going to be pushed in your ear. It's going to be more comfortable in general with the usage of the controls, and probably more accurate. So even though these are going to look like every other earbud pretty much on the market that's a premium type earbud, have it be from Apple or other manufacturers, again, I think it's a good thing. Don't get hung up on that it looks like Apple AirPods Pros, because it's not a bad thing. You're going to get better sound, most likely, probably better battery life. There'll probably be a little bit of a battery in there, better controls, better comfort, better connection. It's a good thing overall. I can't think of many negative things about this because of the stem. But what do you guys think? I'm really curious to see what you guys think. Now, over in Korea, the Galaxy Z Fold 6 and Flip 6 have been quote unquote leaked out from a Korean telecom. Now, I want to say, before we even go through all this, some of this stuff might change, but if it doesn't, it's good news for the Z Fold 6, because it's stuff that we didn't think it might be getting, that it looks like it might be getting based off of this leak. So let's go through this little document. Now, it is written in Korean, so obviously we can't read all the Korean stuff, but we can decipher from the numbers that we see here. Now, the first thing is that it's going to have a 6.3-inch outside display and a 7.7-inch inside display. Now, we've heard it's going to have basically we're hearing that it's going to basically be about 0.1 inches over the previous generation, and that's cool with me, having a bigger display. Even if it's micro bigger, I'd still like to have something bigger, but regardless, it's still cool that it's going to be bigger in general. Below that, IP68, if this has, again, this could be one of the things that doesn't end up happening, but having IP68, that means it would be dust and water resistant, which is absolutely massive for the Z Fold 6, because no other folding phone that I can think of is IP68. There's ones that are water resistant like the Z Fold 5, but not dust and water resistant. So that's absolutely massive with this. Continuing down, you can see it, guys, 4,800 milliamps. That's 400 more milliamps than the Z Fold 5. And that would mean that we're getting 400 more milliamps than previous generation. That, again, would be absolutely massive for this. Then you're looking at the RAM. 12 gigs of RAM on here. We were hoping for 16, but it looks like it's only going to be 12. And, whatever. I keep my phone a year. It'll be perfectly fine with that, but it's a little bit of a disappointment. I'm hoping for 16 gigs of RAM. And then beyond that, you're looking at 256 and 512 gigs of storage. That's where I think this is a little bit separated, unless they're saving the 1 terabyte version for their Galaxy Z Fold 6 Slim, which I'll have some more information on that in tomorrow's video. But that could be, maybe they're saving it for that, and they're limiting the storage sizes on the regular Fold 6 to 256 and 512. Now, again, I have to say it. Any rumor we always talk about, it could be incorrect, it could be right. But if this is correct, there are some nice little nuggets in there. That being the bigger battery size, obviously the slightly bigger display. The IP68 is absolutely massive on there. And yeah, those would be the things. And then the things that aren't maybe so great for some people is the not being able to go 1 terabyte of storage and only having a 12 gigabyte of RAM. But again, those aren't definitely not huge negatives. They're barely negatives at all, if they are at all. So what do you guys think about this? If you think, if it does come true, there is some positivity in there. We're gonna jump in with some Galaxy Z Fold 6 news and the colors that you will be able to get in this. We've spoken about this a couple of times, but it looks like we're gonna finally be able to lock these colors in. And I'm gonna tell you which colors I would choose personally for my Fold 6. This information coming from Ice Universe via a tweet saying that the upcoming Z series foldables will be sold in the following colors. So if you want the Flip 6, you get that in blue, mint, silver shadow, and yellow. I would grab the mint. I think that's gonna be magnificent. And then the Fold 6, you're looking at navy, pink, and silver shadow. And addition, both models will be offered exclusively in white and crafted black, with the Flip 6 also adding peach. Flip 6 getting some very nice colors coming to it. Now I want to talk about which colors I would get. I would grab for the Fold 6, because that's what I'm going to end up getting. Ooh, maybe the pink. It depends what color pink it is. Silver, I haven't had a silver phone in a long time, but I guess I'd break it down to either white or pink. Pink, again, I've never had a pink phone that I can remember. It'd be kind of interesting. So yeah, at least they're coming out with some exciting colors for the most part for the Fold 6. Flip 6 getting really cool colors though. Next up, if you remember from back in the day, HTC used to make phones, and then they sold their phone service, if I'm not mistaken, over to Google, and Google bought like Motorola and all this other stuff, and they sold that off. But eventually, HTC stopped making phones because they kind of sold their phone business. But they are back. As of tomorrow, they're releasing a brand new phone, and it's going to be called the HTC U24 Pro, and it's got some pretty good specs. It has a 6.8 inch Full HD Plus curved OLED display, a Snapdragon 7 Gen 3, which isn't the most powerful Snapdragon processor, but it should run hopefully pretty well. 108 megapixel main camera, 4600 milliamp battery, and wired and wireless reverse wireless charging, 8 or 12 gigs of RAM, and 256 gigs of storage with an IP67 certification. Now, this phone is obviously kind of like upper to mid tier. It's definitely not a flagship phone especially with that processor. But if you've been missing HTC phones, it looks like they're back in the game. Now we're gonna go back to the Galaxy Z Fold 6 because we saw Apple's stuff yesterday with Apple Intelligence, if you missed that, and they have AI built into the iOS 18. Well, there's a feature that they have that does this, where you will be drawing, and it's pretty cool, and then it eventually turns into an actual photo of what you were drawing. And Ice Universe put a tweet saying, I heard that the Z Fold 6 will have some brand new AI features, including something that looks really exciting. And in a separate post, he says the new AI of Galaxy Z Fold 6 will realize this function before Apple Graffiti becomes an image, where where you're basically drawing and it turns that into the specific thing that you're drawing via AI. It just knows what you're drawing. So it looks like Z Fold 6 this is going to be one of the things that Z Fold 6 will get. And obviously it'll probably make it better if you're drawing with the S Pen that you'll probably have to buy separately if you don't already have one. But then added on to that, you're probably also looking at, hopefully you can draw with your finger and it'll know that, but it's just a cool feature. And then there's going to be other AI features that are added into this, and we've been hearing that. I think this is going to be, obviously we're not getting the full-on blown out specs of the Fold 6, but you will get a lot of AI features built into it, and I think that's going to be a commonality really for a lot of phones going forward, especially as we head into this next decade. We've got some big stories about the Z Fold 6, Flip 6, but first we're going to start it off with the Galaxy Watch 6 beta and some new exciting developments coming from this beta. And it's launched in the USA, so you can sign up for it right now. And there's some new things coming out that I think are really going to excite you if you're into new software, especially for your Watch 6. Now, this tweet comes from Tarun, who is saying that the Watch One UI 6 beta program launched for the Watch 6 in the USA. Some of those key features that have launched with it are Samsung's Health new energy score monitors physical and mental readiness based on sleep and activity, providing personalized insights and motivation. Galaxy AI, which is going to be big for Samsung throughout these next years, offers detailed sleep analysis, including heart rate, respiratory rate, and time to fall asleep. Users can create custom workout routines with specific targets. They can double pinching the screen enables quick actions like answering calls and controlling music. Universal gestures allow for efficient task management and quick access to notifications. Modes can automatically adjust watch settings based on activities or locations, and so much more. There is a basic laundry list of new things coming to the Watch 6 that you can go and check to download right now. Next two stories are definitely bad news, especially if you have to spend more money. And that's what we're looking like we're gonna have to do with the prices that are being leaked out for the Flip 6 and Fold 6. These are American prices, and usually these carry throughout the world with a price increase. Let's start with the Flip 6. This information coming from OnLeaks, and he's saying that the Flip 6 is rumored to bring some upgrades to the table, such as a new 50 megapixel main sensor and higher capacity battery. Another thing that's getting higher is the price. The Flip 6 will be available in two storage configurations, 256 and 512. The 256 will go for $1099 and the 512 will go for $1219.99. These are $100 price increase over last year, which completely sucks. $1099 is an awful looking price too. It really should be $999. The Flip 6 will be available in 4 colorways: mint, silver, shadow, yellow, and blue. The device will weigh exactly as the same as it did last year, which is 187 grams. And the display will remain the same size as well at 6.7 inches. But like I said, we are not over with the bad news. The Fold 6 will be available in 3 storage configurations: 256, 512, and 1 terabyte. Unfortunately, there is a price increase again of $100, and it's starting off at $1899. 512 is going for $2019.99, and the 1 terabyte will go for $2259.99. The foldable will be available in 3 colors: navy, silver, shadow, and pink. It's also going to weigh in at 239 grams, which is 14 grams less than the previous generation, and it will ship with that same 7.6-inch primary display. Now, to play a little devil's advocate, the way they've been doing things is if you pre-order the phone, you can generally get the 512 for the 256 price, so it's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, but it's still $100 more than you paid last year. Hopefully they give us really, really good trade-in values, but it's consistently not amazing news for the Fold 6. I still think the Fold 6 is going to be a great phone. Don't get me wrong in any way with that, but the jumps from the 5 to the 6 and everything, like being tech specs and features and all that, I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference. It doesn't look like it's going to be that big of a difference. And then the price increase, there's a lot of wiggle room for these other companies to jump in and steal a lot of market share from Samsung and on the folding market, and it's going to continue to be like that. Have it be from Google with their Pixel Fold 2, or OnePlus open phone, with them being able to decrease the price because they're most likely not coming out with a new version this year. And that could potentially take a lot of customers away that are thinking about getting a folding phone and not going with Samsung. We're gonna start today's news off with the Pixel 3 and Pixel Watch 3 XL. Now, the Pixel Watch 3 and 3 XL are going to be coming out not probably until October, but it hasn't stopped them from being leaked out already. And let's not get too excited because they look basically the same. That's right. We will have 2 different sizes finally, but the design of the watch is staying the same. I was hoping they would switch over to like a square face, but they're keeping the round watch. This is a great watch. If I have the Pixel Watch 2, it is awesome watch. Very lightweight, easy to use, reliable. It's great. Really, really a nice watch. The big difference here is that the Watch 3 XL will be 1.45 inches, and that's bigger than the 1.2 inch Watch 3. Now that regular Watch 3 is the same size as the Watch 1 and Watch 2, which is 1.2 inches. So you are getting a little bit more size with the 3XL, but other than that, not really anything much to grab at right now. We don't really know all the features and all that stuff that it'll have. But at least they're coming out with two different sizes, because the regular Watch 1 and Watch 2, that 1.2 inches is pretty small, but it's still a good display. It's easy to see, it's fast. So speaking of watches, Samsung has officially announced the Galaxy Watch FE. Now, we thought it was going to be announced at Samsung Unpacked in July, but it looks like they're pushing that forward a little bit just so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle of different devices that will be released at that event. And what they said is that this is the first Galaxy Watch FE that empowers even more users with Samsung's advanced health monitoring technology. It offers health insights and connected Samsung Galaxy experiences with stylish design, and the design looks very familiar to a regular Galaxy Watch that we've all, I guess, fallen in love with hopefully at this point, or liked at some point. The specs on it, 1.2 inch, so it will match that regular Pixel Watch size. It'll have the Exynos W920 dual core, 1.1 gigahertz processor, 1.5 gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigs of storage, 247 milliamp battery. It will be wireless charging. It's powered by Wear OS, runs One UI 5, which is weird because I think the 6 is in beta, so I guess 6 won't be ready just yet, but you have that. And then sensors, it's got the Samsung Bioactive sensor, which is the optical heart rate and electrical heart, bioelectrical impedance analysis, accelerometer, barometer, gyro sensor, geomagnetic sensor, light sensor, LTE if you want an LTE version of it, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and IP68 military standard SA5 ATM. So it's got basically everything you'd want in a watch. So that should be available this summer. They didn't go into great detail as of yet when that would be this summer, but I assume it's probably going to be next month. Now the last story is pretty crazy. It has to do with the Galaxy Tab S10 Plus. That will not look, it's not looking like it anyway. In the US, it will not be a Snapdragon processor, but that is actually not that, it's not bad news actually. It's gonna have a MediaTek 9300 Plus processor in it, and that processor actually is pretty good. You can see the benchmarks right here, but I went to a comparison site to look at it versus an 8 Gen 3 because that's what we thought it was going to have, and the MediaTek 9300 Plus beats it in CPU performance, gaming performance, nano review score, and battery life. Not massively, but slightly. So it's a very similar chip, but it's very interesting. So it's good to know that you'll get a little bit more performance out of this 9300 Plus versus an 8 Gen 3. And if you're a gamer, you're gonna get a little bit more gaming. If you want a little bit better performance, you're gonna get a little bit better performance. So honestly, it's a good thing overall to see that happening. So if you're, I don't know if I assume it'll fall down to the Galaxy S10 as well. I can't imagine that the S10 is gonna have a Snapdragon and then the 10 Plus is gonna have a MediaTek, and then I would though assume that the Ultra version probably will have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, but hey, maybe things will change. We have a huge day of tech news for you, and it's all about Samsung. The first one is official Samsung Unpacked. Stuff has leaked out, and I can't show you the graphic because the copyright gods will come striking down on my channel. So I can't show it to you, but I can tell you about it and you can check it out after if you want. But July 10th is the official launch of Samsung Unpacked. So that is less than a month away. It's like, what, 26 days away or something like that before we get to July 10th, the launch of the Z Fold 6, Flip 6, Watch, God, I forget, 6, 7, whatever, Tab S10 series, and a couple other things I believe as well, if I'm not thinking of it just right at this moment. So big day, July 10th, get ready. That obviously means they release their products 2 weeks later than that. Let me see what day July 10th is real quick. So July 10th is a Wednesday, so that means that July 12th, And then 2 weeks later after that, so 19th, 26th, July 26th should be the launch release date of all those devices. And July 26th, usually before that, so you're looking at probably July 19th through the 26th, people will start beginning to receive the phones. The mass majority of people. Of course, there'll be people like trickled in there that get the phone like July 10th, 15th or something like that, crazy. But yeah, July 19th through the 26th, officially in your hands, those devices. Now, next up are some dummy photos, but it shows off the Galaxy Z Fold 6. Just looks it looks great. It looks, especially that front display, it looks so much better than the previous generation. And I wanted to show this because we don't have really a lot of official stuff, and I can't show official stuff before the release date or launch date of this. So I got to show you this kind of stuff. But this just shows you it looks really good. I'm not to say that the camera on the back is looking all that different. It looks the same pretty much. And then the side, it doesn't look overly super slim, but it's supposed to be a little bit slimmer, so maybe it'll make more of an impact in your hand. What I mean is, like, when you actually look at this next to a Z Fold 5 on the left and then a Z Fold 6 on the right, the Z Fold 5 just looks old and dated. And that's the kind of change you want, is that when you have a device and you're holding it in hand, you look at the older generation, you want to feel and look like that the older generation just doesn't look as good or as modern or as just hyped up as the Z Fold 6. And that front display, it looks a lot better. It looks like they didn't make any mistakes. It looks like they took their time. It looks sexier. It looks better just in general. And not to say that's the number one reason someone should upgrade, but also when you look at it, the display does look better and bigger in terms of the amount of actual screen size that we'll be able to use by cutting off basically the roundness of the display and making it just looks awesome. I think the front display is really, really good and bigger, and I hope it feels and looks that way in person too. Thanks. We've got some information about the Galaxy Z Fold 6 Slim. I've said it probably doesn't exist. I've gone back and forth saying it does, it doesn't. There's been people saying the same, and it looks like it does exist, but don't get your hopes up, because the hopes of it coming to any other place besides a couple of Asian countries will be not fruitful. And that is what's looking like it's going to happen. The latest tweet from Ice Universe is that the Galaxy Z Fold 6 Slim, also known as the Q6A SM F958N equals SM W9025 in China, Samsung W25. It will be released in China in September or October. It should be released in Korea around that same time of September, October, and not be sold anywhere else. And this will be a slim version. The problem is right now we don't really know a lot about it in terms of, like, is it going to have a better camera? Is it going to be, how much lighter and thinner is it going to be? Bigger battery, faster charging, more RAM? Like, what is it going to have? We don't fully know any of that stuff, but it looks like if they're going to release it in September or October of this year, I guess there's some kind of probability they might end up talking about it in July, on July 10th at the Samsung Unpacked event, but they also might not, especially because Samsung Unpacked event is really a global event. It's not just for 2 countries. So I actually don't think they will mention it in July. I think they'll do some kind of either separate event or a really soft announcement of it through a press release or something. But I don't think it's going to come any other places seemingly other than Korea and China. And again, September, October, right around the corner. So I don't think you really have anything to worry about if you're a Samsung fan anywhere else. You should be able to safely get the Z Fold 6 if you want to get it. And speaking of the Z Fold 6, another couple of things have leaked out about this phone. One being the full specs. There's a couple things missing, which I'll mention. And then also the crease. Let's talk about the crease first. Has that been improved or not? Or is it about the same? And it looks like it's basically about the same. Ice Universe has said in the tweet, as for the crease, the Flip 6 crease is better than the Flip 5. And the Fold 6 has little improvement. So if you're wanting a better crease on your Fold 6, don't hold your breath. It looks like it's been just slightly improved. And then I also wanted to go through the specs here of the Galaxy Z Fold 6. We've kind of done this, but he released a official spec sheet, and I just basically got the information from that and created my own thing from it. So you're looking at 7.6 inch, 2x 120 hertz. The resolution of it is 2160 by 1856. The secondary display, which is the outside display, will be 6.3 inches, 120 hertz, 2376 by 968. It will have an 8 Gen 3. It will come with 12 gigs of RAM. The storage will be 256, 512, and 1 terabyte, which is what we thought. Primary, ultra-wide, telephoto, under display camera, and cover camera are all the same since the Fold 4. You will get 30x digital zoom, which you've got in the previous generations as well. It will be able to do 8K video at 30 frames per second, or you can do full HD at 240 frames per second. So if you love 8K video, you can still do that. That's not going away. USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-C, Bluetooth 5.3, Wi-Fi 6, no Wi-Fi 7, which is really shocking. I'd be surprised. I'm really surprised it does not have Wi-Fi 7, especially Wi-Fi 7 being out for almost a year. I think it has been a year, basically, or about a year coming up on it. So I'm really, really shocked that it doesn't have Wi-Fi 7. Same battery, 4400 milliamp battery. Here's the dimensions, which we spoke about many times. The weight, again, 239 grams, which we spoke about, which is less than the past generations. And the colors we talked about: navy, silver, shadow, pink. So, you know, no surprises there. The big surprise is I don't know what the nits are, how bright the display is. That was one thing I would have questioned. Also, I mentioned the Wi-Fi 6 not having Wi-Fi 7. Not the end of the world for that, but just kind of surprising that it doesn't have Wi-Fi 7. And then also, I kind of wonder, what's the big, why is there a price increase on this? It also doesn't mention IP certification at all. Obviously, there'll be some kind of certification in terms of that. So there is some specs missing. There's probably some that you can think of as well. But I do think that, like, I can't imagine where this price is coming from. Now, if you added IP certification in there, meaning IP68, that could be why, but it just seems overly priced out of that because of that fact. So we'll have to wait and see, but not a huge reason to upgrade just looking at this spec sheet. I think it's, again, going to be one of those devices you hold in your hand. You're like, yeah, I definitely want this one over any previous generation. First story of the day has to do with the Galaxy S Tab S10. They're tablets that are going to be the Tab S10, Tab S10 Plus, and Tab S10 Ultra. Now, when are these going to come out? I was thinking they were going to come out in July, aka next month, at Unpacked, and it looks like that's not going to happen, at least per Crow's saying that the S10 Tab S10 series is scheduled for release in the fourth quarter. Now, that's kind of crazy because that would mean it's going to come out in either October, November, or December. And I don't think they've ever done that. I think they usually end up doing it in January if they end up doing it. So, I know we kind of know about this tablet, but I won't be surprised if it falls into January, especially with so late in the year. At that point, they could probably throw in the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 instead of sticking with the 8 Gen 3. 8 Gen 3 will be cheaper, but at the same time, why wouldn't you just put the best processor in there so you can compete with the power of Apple that they'll have, because they have their M4 processors in there. So we'll keep our eyes peeled on this one. I wouldn't keep it locked in stone, but we got some information at the very least. Google Pixel 9 Pro has more RAM than the S24 Ultra, than the Galaxy Z Fold 6, than any Samsung phone in a really, really long time. That's right, more RAM. The latest information come from Ice Universe is that the Google Pixel 9 Pro has 16 gig RAM configuration, but the S24 Ultra and Fold 6 do not have a 16 gig RAM option. This is ridiculous. Samsung's arrogance should be put to rest. Samsung software has entered the AI era, but the hardware has not kept up. It always thinks it is Apple, and it is a delusional patient. And I think he's right. Sticking on the same charging speeds and RAM for the last handful of years is absolutely ridiculous in an Android world where it needs a lot of system resources. But what do you guys think? Last story of the day. I can't show you these renders. I wish I could. I'll put a link down below of people that have put it on Twitter. But the Galaxy Watch 7 Ultra, or Galaxy Watch Ultra, or whatever they end up calling it, and the Galaxy Ring charger they show the charger. The charger on the Galaxy Ring is amazing looking. It looks really premium, really futuristic, really cool. It looks like it has some kind of like light that goes on when you open the case up and close it. It's really cool. And then the squared off look of the Galaxy Watch Ultra, but it has a round watch face. It looks like the problem with that one is the Galaxy Watch, you know, whatever the last huge watch they had was absolutely humongous. And then they're not going to just have a rounded watch face. It's going to have like a squared body around it to make it even bigger. So those are my concerns with it. But that Galaxy Watch Ring charger is chef's kiss. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Have a great day. We'll see you down the road. Peace.